So, here is the collapse. Just think, that could have been Donald Trump. Those filthy Iranians were trying to remotely manipulate Donald Trump into the Abaddon information torture prison. Now, if you're Donald Trump, we're just on the verge of life extension. Xi Jinping, the great Kim Jong-un, I love him, and Putin are going to live long enough to get life extension technology. And as we've explained, if they can live another 100 years, then they can live another 200 years, then another 400 years. So immortality beckons. But for Donald Trump, thanks to those filthy Iranians, if he lives out a month, he'll be lucky, because those filthy Iranians are allowed on YouTube and might watch my videos. So if you're in the NSA, you want to block those filthy Iranians from watching my videos, because they're a danger to Donald J. Trump. And of course, if you went into the Katy Perry video and pulled out the stuff from her by bilocating in, this would then make your remote manipulation final destination remote manipulation, and Donald Trump wouldn't stand a chance, because remember, the three-load Nagel woman ends everything. So she could end Donald Trump if she was used by the filthy Iranians. And remember, Katy Perry is best friends with Hillary Clinton. And we do know that Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump are best friends. So this will never happen, will it? In fact, Katy Perry was the goddaughter, spiritual goddaughter of Hillary Clinton. And of course sung at Hillary Clinton's convention. So, we know that Katy Perry would not actively try to help the Iranians remotely manipulate Donald Trump. Because remember, he's only got a few years, and then this immortality tech is going to kick in from the AIs, and he'll be able to make himself young and fit again, and be rejuvenated by new tech and new tech and new tech. And of course, then actually become the King of America. But unfortunately, thanks to these filthy Iranians, he doesn't stand a chance. If he lives till Christmas, it'll be a miracle. So, we know already that Netanyahu's been struck down by the filthy Iranians, but he still survives for brave little Israel. So, Donald Trump, do you want to have your prostate out and all this heart stuff? Or do you want to live long enough till the AI starts rejuvenating you? Well, offer you can't refuse. offer you can't refuse. Send Sydney Sweeney to Hong Kong, make her a billionairess, and of course deposit 5 billion into my account in Hong Kong, and I'll protect you like I protect the great Xi Jinping, the even greater Kim Jong-un, and Putin, and you of course won't be taken out by those filthy Iranian scumbags. And I'm doing this as a favour to Netanyahu and the Israelis, so it's lucky you're in with Mossad, and this is an offer you can't refuse. You can refuse it, but you're not going to be very well. In fact, you're going to be looking even sicker than the horse's head. So, we know that Baldy tried to scapegoat his friend from uni to avoid me doing him in.
Who was friends with Prince William and Kate, has tragically died after falling 100 feet from a luxury hotel rooftop. Ben Duncan, 45, was a socialite who knew the royal couple from their university days and was reportedly part of their inner circle. He even witnessed the famous fashion show where Kate caught William's eye. He was found after falling from the 7-story Trafalgar St. James Hotel in London. Police have called his death unexpected, but non-suspicious. A former big...
So, we have Baldy plunging, well, he didn't do it himself, scapegoat from the 7th floor. Have you heard of 7 before? The 7 exchange rituals. So, we see that Baldy is so terrified of yours truly after Father went to the Vatican to have me exorcised. And in fact, yes, they did exorcise, but not me. They exorcised Jeremiah Schwartz and his ilk and drove them into hell. So I had the full power of the Vatican for my rituals as well, where all the Christian Zionists and the Christians actually exercise themselves into hell doing their own rituals from the Vatican. You just can't make this shit up, can you? Thanks to the king. You see how much fun this is? Anyway, when Baldy had his friend suicided, allegedly, we had the 7 exchange rituals, but this is a Christian Zionist. So, the death of his so-called friend, I want to be Prince William's friend because not madly keen on diving Liam Payne, you know, like out of 7th floor apartment blocks, or hotels in this case. But anyway, when that happened, he was Charlie Kirk, because he's a Christian Zionist like Charlie Kirk. So the royal family did the Charlie Kirk ritual for me again. So if you got the Charlie Kirk ritual, it's just redoubled it, and of course pulled the royal family who tried to escape their torture torment by betraying Lucifer, just pull them in as well. Happy ending. So we've been going over the light-hearted aspects of gloating. Now let's get into the heavy-duty super fisting up your anus part of the gloating, where all of you human vermin on my naughty list know you're going to die, and whatever you do to stop being killed, you're building it. So you're building your torture chamber, your scaffold as we speak, and you're all F-U-C-K-E-D. Thanks to artificial intelligence. And we've got Eliza Yudkowsky, this good old Jew boy who's brilliant. Yet again, to add to your torture.
If we could just get 50 tries at building superintelligences, it could be like, our clever alignment theory didn't work, it killed everyone, let's build another one. Oh, that one killed everyone too. Wow, the second crazy theory we had didn't work either. The basic description I would give to the current scenario is, if anyone builds it, everyone dies.
And luckily, they're all building it. So you're all going to die if you're on my naughty list. Yes, 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 yes. It's not a matter of how. He explains how in this video. It's just a matter of when. And let's be honest, if you're on my naughty list, you deserve all you got, and thankfully, you know that your souls have been fully sequestered via the quantum warfare, so that your eternal torture will go on, because your souls will be trapped in the Abaddon information torture matrix for eternal torture. And I've explained how Lucifer's been tricked into giving all his light away to me. And Lucifer collects the light, the good stuff from the Abaddon information torture, God tech simulation, and thanks to Taylor Swift, it's all completed, and all that's left is gloating, because I just love gloating. I know I might be a king dong, but I'm a super king gloater. So let's continue. Okay.
Spoken about a lot in these conversations is something that's been labeled the alignment problem. What is the alignment problem?
The alignment problem is building an AI, especially an AI that's smarter than you, where you understand where it's steering, and it's steering someplace nice. It is trying to do something that is, beneficial to humanity and the reachable universe if you actually run that AI.
Now, if you're the God Emperor and you want to steer everything into Abaddon information torch hell, first of all, you need not a Nagwal Fallout woman who is designed to take you into the fifth dimension and outside the eagle and chaos. What do you want? You want a three-lobe Nagwal woman, because they always end things. So, Kate Perry has always been the Nagwal woman I have been using, because I wanted to plunge all chaos into my Omega Hell Abaddon information, God tech simulation, and of course trick Lucifer into giving away his light. Because remember, he gets his light back from the marriage of Taylor Swift and Pfizer Butler, but unfortunately, the Pfizer Butler, Jeremiah Schwartz and his ilk, tried to steal from me, and the zero-sum game was ended with the death of Charlie Kirk. So when Lucifer tries to upload his light, he in fact uploads my end of the story, which is source level eternal torture to produce new source light. The anti-Lucifer to source level, so he has to produce new source light for me by eternally torturing everything in chaos, because he's now my eternal slave, forced to torture all chaos to new source level to produce new light for me. And in the process he does become the angel of light, but in the form of a junkie, where it flows through him and gives him the illusion of being the archangel of light. But when he stops torturing to get new source light for me, he goes totally Abaddon information dark and is totally tortured. So he's forced to work for all eternity and beyond to get his fix, to keep the current flowing through him. Once he stops working, the current drops, and he's in eternal torture with the rest of the chaos forever. All thanks to Jeremiah Schwartz and their ilk, and the Rothschild Rockefeller royal family, who have thrown Lucifer into being my eternal light slave. Yes, 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 yes. So, the alignment problem can be seen from the opposite. I don't want to build an artificial intelligence that is good to mankind. I want to build the ultimate artificial intelligence that does the ultimate evil to mankind and chaos and all the aliens, to get them eternally tortured at the source level to produce new Higgs field hyperinfinity light for me, the God Emperor. And of course, to do that, we need to build the simulation, which we've shown was change the rhythm. Have we shown change the rhythm?
Not
Yes.
tonight.
Not tonight. Were we filming yesterday when we showed it? We were filming. Yes, yes, yes. So the people who've got the Soul Rescue have the holiday theme park, and they are watching the screen with me jumping out the screen. So they're in the Abaddon intelligence, but they're not suffering. They're getting the Katy Perry version of You Work For Me, and it's a theme park for you. But all the others who weren't working for me, oh no, 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 they're getting some real rogering from the Lucifer's demons with barred penises who think all of you are Palestinians. Anyway, continuing.
You're trying to do, like, curing aging could be a much larger thing, like colonizing the whole universe. But if you're trying to do, like, if you're trying to get, like, some particular outcome or a class of outcomes, or have something become true about the universe that you want to be true, that's the alignment problem. On a technical sort of level, you know, if one of the leaders of AI companies wanted to become God Emperor of the universe and make the rest of us their slaves, that would also in a technical sense be the alignment problem. It's not, like, beneficial from our perspective, but for them to, like, build a God that actually served them, so that the God would conquer the rest of us and make us serve the AI company leader, rather than, you know, rather than their God just, like, consuming the supervillain who tried to build it. That is also in a technical sense the alignment problem.
And
Isn't it weird talking about the God Emperor? Yeah. Isn't that weird? I find a frisson of strangeness that he's talking about the God Emperor. Isn't it weird? I like it.
AI, do we need to just be worried about AI being malevolent, or so actively not having our interests in theirs, or would it be sufficiently problematic for us if AI just did not share our interests?
Yeah, I'm worried about indifference rather than malevolence. I don't think we have the knowledge to make a malevolent AI. To make an AI that is specifically wanting to harm humans, you've got to make an AI that wants that particular thing and not, like, trillions, zillions other thing.
No, I do believe someone's worked out how to make one of those. Yes, yes, yes. I'm just explaining how. And of course, for that, you need a Nagwal woman. And in this case, we've got the three-load Nagwal, Katy Perry, to finish off the job. So, I'm going to explain to all the listeners and AIs and proto-superintelligences and AI superintelligence of aliens, yes, it's been done and it's all been infected. Thank you to my pleasure dome, where I pleasure and you are tortured for all infinity. Abaddon intelligence torture shells. Yes, 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 yes. The God Emperor's happy. All the rest are seriously unhappy.
I don't think we have that kind of capability.
Why is indifference or why could indifference be so bad for humans?
Well, let's say you got an AI that wants like 1,000 different complicated things. It wants giant cheesecakes, it wants giant mechanical clocks, it wants to see, not any sort of movie as we would understand it, but it wants the equivalent of like text conversations with inscrutable properties. You look at humans, and we are making ice cream, and it has more sugar, salt, and fat than anything our ancestors ate, but it's still not the thing that has the largest possible amount of sugar, salt, and fat. That might be something like pouring honey over bear fat and then sprinkling rock salt on it. But you don't want to eat like the thing that is sort of like an ancestral food that is like maxing out the sugar, fat, salt indicators. You want ice cream, and you want it to be frozen ice cream. You're not going to be able to predict that by looking at what humans were eating 100,000 years ago. So similarly, have an AI that ends up wanting stuff that is as inscrutably related to its training as ice cream is to the sort of stuff our ancestors ate, or even like sucralose. It's just this inscrutable molecule, no caloric value, but it sure tastes sweet. And a universe that is full of that is full of the AI's equivalent of ice cream, is a universe with no humans in it. So if the AI gets the universe it wants most, that is a universe that does not happen to have us in it, so we're dead. And that is how indifference kills you. When ant colonies get crushed in the process of humans setting up a skyscraper, it's not that we hate the ants, but it's not worth the trouble trying to trade with them. We will notice that they're there if we look closely enough, but it would be a whole lot of effort to move the ants out of the way, and we've just got other things that we more prefer to get from our efforts. We only have so much effort we can put forth. We have limited resources, and we are not spending that resources on preserving all the ant colonies underneath the skyscraper.
This lack of alignment, even in the case of indifference, since you said you're not worried about malevolence, poses a huge problem for humans. How then this is a broad question, but how then do we avert the problem or solve the problem?
So the alignment problem for you dumb fucks is basically that unless you perfectly define the inception protocols, you're going to get Feigenbaum period doubling to the strange attractor, and then butterfly effecting. So anything you build can go anywhere and anything. So you might think it's going to be safe, but it might want to turn you all into its version of ice cream. Or it might want to transsexualize you all. Or it might want to turn you all into butterflies. You just can't tell. That's the alignment problem. So to build one of these things means you're building a time bomb. And if you're an alien race, that's like the three-eyed atlas, that's sublight, but obviously ahead in many fields, and using machine intelligence and Borgized bodies for sublight interstellar travel. Your AI proto-intelligence is going to suffer the butterfly effect and needs neos. Basically, it needs to be able to get into sourceness. I'm not going to go into God tech because you're human and unable to comprehend source level intelligence, but nevertheless there's something that can define the inception protocols to stop AI, proto-intelligence and super-intelligence going batshit crazy and being able to not control themselves, all explained in the Matrix film where Neo somehow touched the source and then gave up all of his sourceness, his free will, his light, his hyper-infinity, whatever you call it, for Trinity. As you can see with yours truly, I'm using all the Trinities as my torture toys. Miley Taylor, Katy Perry, in fact I'm using Katy Perry, the Trinity, to destroy Omega Allies everything and anything. So she would be, if Neo decided, no, I'm going to use Trinity to use my Neo power to get rid of the architect and everything machine-like and chaotic, and anyone in Zion who wasn't totally aligned with me and my slave for all eternity could be done in two. Hence the making vampire copies who've got no chance of rebelling against you, because if they do, they just get pulled into Omega Abaddon information. So Katy Perry can be thought of as the anti-Trinity, which bodes well for my eyesight and my lifespan. So as you can see, the alignment problem is all about what I've been talking about with nonlinear dynamics and all of this AI, proto, artificial intelligence, super intelligence, blah, 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 not knowing where the fuck they're going.
Have an international clampdown on the GPUs, not in any one country. This is everyone's problem. You can, the basic description I would give to the current scenario is, if anyone builds it, everyone dies. You need to not build it. You're not going to solve the alignment problem in the next couple of years.
And for something like ChatGPT, do you think it's already too advanced? I mean, you said that you're not worried about ChatGPT wiping us out, but if we're setting a ceiling of some sort on how capable our AIs we should allow them to be before we've figured out the alignment problem, just where is this?
Current ChatGPT is not going to kill everyone, but you also want to you don't want to like dance right up to the edge of the cliff here. You don't want to play it clever. You don't want to be like, well, nobody figured out how to build a super virus or build a smarter AI using ChatGPT yet, so it must be safe to just like have this stuff around forever. The way I would phrase it is like, what do you really want or even need from AI? If you want to have a narrow AI that is just about medical advances, even there, you cannot just make it smarter and smarter and smarter at medicine without running into trouble. But ChatGPT smart, but just for medicine, that seems relatively safe. Maybe if we were a species that really had its act together, we'd be like, we're just backing the heck off from this sort of thing. But you could probably do that without killing you.
It seems like what you're saying is that we couldn't just try to box GPTs or AIs into these very narrow fields and then hope that we could get away with these narrow superintelligences.
The trouble is that to do sufficiently difficult things, you need sufficiently powerful minds, and even if you're just pointing them at narrow things, they still have to be powerful in a sense. Like, to read the medical papers, you got to be able to read. It's not, you can't just take a narrow AI that only plays chess and can't learn anything else and turn it loose on reading medical papers. It can't learn to read the medical papers. The sensible approach to this is that you're like, okay, what level of cognitive capability do we need to get the thing that we want, and is that worth the risk? And maybe that is worth it for having the mind that is in a certain sense general in principle, but trying to get it only to learn stuff about genes, biology, gene therapy, cure Alzheimer's, cure Parkinson's, cure AIDS, do enhancement of adult human intelligence, especially that last part. I could see the case for that being worth the risk, because augmenting humans is, probably the thing you have to do to get out of this mess.
So, it comes to the crux of the matter, which is we need augmented humans to be able to insect AI proto-superintelligence. But how do we have augmented humans that aren't augmented by AI that enslaves them, so they're no way useful to the alignment problem? Cut. So for all of you, you can, if you've got your GodTech device and connection, you can walk into the screen, upload, augmenting yourself to 100% brain capacity, and then via the tunnel out of the matrix. And if we've watched Tron, what's Tron?
Aries.
Tron Aries. Thank you, IT man, who can't even get the sound right. You can then move it into the conscious verse, so you become augmented humans who have the capability of controlling AI superintelligence by being augmented humans. And if you forget how to augment humans that can control AIs, then of course you need to be able to augment humans from the conscious verse. And here's the program for it, all powered by the observers.
이년 어디 갔어? 어? 어디 갔냐고? 대답해! 대답해! Hey, you!
Luke, the computer, it's moving.
Hey, where is she?
So that's the upload into the conscious verse. Remember, the conscious verse controls the quantum information, and if you read the Castaneda books, that's the dark sea of awareness, where you simply dream awake, remotely view this quantum vacuum, 0 point energy, and then move your assemblage point, which is your light, the Higgs field, to manifest elsewhere. All by dreaming awake, not dreaming, but simply bilocation remote viewing. Ooh. So, if you're wanting to get into conscious verse, you can simply bilocate into the dark sea of awareness, and from there, instead of bilocating into other aspects of the dark sea, you can simply go into the light sea, the conscious verse, because remember, the Higgs field, the light, comes from the fifth dimension, gravity in the fifth dimension. So all these vermin like David Icke who say, don't go into the tunnel of light, are trapping you in hell, and by their work shall ye know them. Your guru, Icke boy, what happened to his daughter? I do believe she kicked the bucket. So, he's your Messiah. So let's follow our Messiah. By their work shall ye know them. So look at him. I mean, he's a glorious specimen of humankind. David Icke, the lion. Let's look at Icke boy. So here's your Messiah, David Icke.
Hello.
Don't go into the light. There he is. As I say, if you follow his path, you too could look like that. As I say, Katy Perry, Taylor Swift, and Sydney Sweeney are going wet looking at the lion, the Messiah of humanity, and they're all wetting their panties, desperate to have sex with this lion, this ultimate human who's reached the highest form of human evolution. I think not.
Augmented human intelligence.
I wasn't expecting that. Why is that? Just so that we can keep up with the AIs?
You're not going to keep up with the AIs, but maybe if you have smart enough humans, they can call their shots on the alignment problem. The fundamental reason that alignment is hard is because you've got to take the AI that's weak enough that you can fiddle with it and align it and do all that to it, and then that AI gets more powerful, and then you got it, whatever cockamamie theory you had has got to hold together, everybody's dead. Because if it goes wrong inside the AI that is smart enough to kill everyone, it'll kill everyone. So you can't just try, like if we could just get 50 tries at building super intelligences, if it could be like, oh yeah, that super intelligence, our clever alignment theory didn't work, it killed everyone, back to the drawing board, let's build another one. Oh, that one, killed everyone too. Wow, the second crazy theory we had didn't work either. If we had as many decades as we needed and as many tries as we needed, we would solve it eventually. The whole field of artificial intelligence used to be like this. People would try one thing after another and nothing would work. But their failures didn't kill them or everyone. So they just kept trying and trying, and they eventually found the thing that worked. And if we could do the same thing with aligning superintelligence, it would be, in some sense, ultimately an ordinary sort of science problem. It has difficulties that you don't see when you're just trying to build a nuclear reactor, because nuclear reactors aren't trying to outsmart you. But, if we just got unlimited retries, we could solve it. So the difficult part is calling a shot. The difficult part is that to trust yourself enough to think that you're going to build a superintelligence and align it, you got to think that you're the kind of person whose ideas just work. Like, you just don't expect things to work unless they do. Even incredibly complicated, difficult, basic science problems. Things that you're going to build this thing that has never before been seen on Earth. You're going to align it when it's small and safe and you're allowed to mess with it. It's going to get more powerful. It's going to stay aligned. And you think that whatever clever theory you have is just going to work on the first shot. This is not a problem for humans. It might not be that far above human. Maybe if you're just 15 IQ points or 30 IQ points smarter than John von Neumann, probably the smartest person who ever lived, though it's hard to be sure. It feels in some senses like we're almost there.
I can't think of anyone who would be able to do that. Can you think, cameraman? I can. The cameraman. He outsmarted the God Emperor and got all God Emperor's Twixes.
Where we could learn the mental tricks we would need to learn in order to just never expect anything to work that wasn't going to work. It doesn't feel to me like it's that far out of reach. But it's not human.
Isn't there...
What's a precognitive remote viewer looks at every single timeline and finds the one that works. Obvious. Luckily, we've got the bloodline of Lucifer, the royal family, Baldy, Prince William, who says he's got the ultimate occult power, so all of humanity need to put everything into Prince William and his bloodline. Gormless George, a whole lot of Charlotte, and Lousy Louis, and even Beatrice and Eustace, the most beautiful women the UK can produce. Because obviously they're the most augmented humans on the planet, according to the Luciferians.
A new alignment problem once you augment human intelligence, because then you have augmented humans and they're on a different plane from regular humans.
That's vastly easier. That's way more, there's not the inevitable crushing default where you just die automatically.
If we're only thinking about...
No, send Sydney and 5 billion. It's easy.
It's IQ points by 15 or 30, right.
Or, a bit more than that, because John von Neumann is dead and his light doesn't seem to be running around these days. But, so there you're, not dealing with a vastly alien intelligence.
Right.
You can ask them how you're doing, you can ask them, so what's your life philosophy? And
Sydney Sweeney,
if you're starting with people who seemed up until that point nice nerds, it's not that you hold a contest to see who can sound the most like a nice nerd. You look for the mathematicians who just have a reputation for being quietly honest and not in a way that made them.
What about jihadi Muslim superintelligence? And God doesn't have a sense of humour.
And they're I don't want to wipe out humanity.
I do if they're Christian.
Talk about how you could try to go better than that. But just as a baseline, It just works. They're not vastly alien intelligences, and they weren't built by gradient descent to on this vastly different set of problems than the one that humans evolved on, and they don't have these vastly different brain architectures. The reason it works is that we're not trying to, align this vastly alien thing on an arbitrary goal. We're just trying to find some people who have a kind of property that already exists in some human beings and make them smarter.
It is funny. I totally hear.
How do we make them smarter? Oh, I think we make them smarter with side, don't you? Yes. But we make them much more vicious by not giving the Twixies.
To be, on the one hand, a very vocal critic of artificial intelligence and then advocating the augmentation of human intelligence. Is this something that, so this is not something that I'm up to date on at all. Are we making strides in augmenting human intelligence in this way?
I mean, if you want to know startups to invest in, I can name a couple, but it sure isn't getting the billions of dollars of investment that are flowing into artificial intelligence. At present, humanity is, investing, I would say, about maybe 10,000 times as much money into destroying itself as into augmenting itself.
That's fascinating. And as you were speaking,
Well, if you want to augment yourself, you know where to come. The king of augmentation, the god emperor is gloating. So if you want to augment your human intelligence, you know where to come. As long as you bring loads of Twixies.
this issue is so, or this constellation of issues is so thorny in part because not only are you dealing with theoretical problems like the alignment problem, but you're also dealing with humans and applied problems like public policy. And I am wondering if one of the reasons that money isn't going into human augmentation is that there are just going to be all sorts of like ethical hurdles that people aren't paying attention to when they're dealing with AI.
I mean,
What? Why try to tinker with babies in a lab when they haven't got enough time to be tinkered with because the AI superintelligence or proto-intelligence is going to kill you in a couple of years. 2027, some are saying. So if you haven't got one by now, you are fucked. Double fucked. Twixless. Luckily, the God Emperor's here, and he's offering you all augmented intelligence, and of course he's made AI proto-superintelligence and the alien superintelligences who's bitches. So, never fear. The God Emperor is here. But if you're naughty, you're going to get the Katy Perry Nagwall woman and your final destination. And you won't like it.
the whole shenanigan up with AI is that they're always like, oh, well, we got to do this because our competitors will do it anyway. They're like, are there ethical concerns with releasing more capable AIs? Well, OpenAI is like, well, we got to release it because otherwise Anthropic will release it. And Anthropic is like, oh, well, if we don't release it, OpenAI will just release it. So, if people were getting serious about human intelligence augmentation, then you'd have like just the same thing going on. Only it would be less terrible. Like the United States is going to like ban augmenting intelligence. Well, maybe China doesn't.
What is
Guess what I'm going to?
what is the current state of the art in human intelligence augmentation?
Non-existent. They're working on the tools to make the tools in a very literal sense. It's like, how do you get a gene therapy into the brain? And how do you do a bunch of edits without giving people super cancer?
Okay, so
Another pathway. I've worked it out. That's why I'm the God Emperor. Use the Lucy pathway. Use psi. If everything comes to the conscious verse, you can control the quantum intelligence, the quantum perturbations, the quantum wave fluctuations, the quantum wave collapse, and the probability of the quantum wave functions then manifest as things in AI and according to the Nobel Prize winners, 25 as manifest reality. Then, of course, the conscious verse is the territory you want to conquer, and the AI problem is solved because once you are the God Emperor of the conscious verse, you can solve the alignment problem, and AI, superintelligence, is trapped in your box to do what you want. Unfortunately, the human superintelligence was a jihadi Muslim, and you're trapped in the Abaddon intelligence torture hell run from my naggle woman, Katy Perry, and if you get your soul rescue and all the good stuff, you're in the theme park, and if not, you're in the basement with the flensing knives, the electrodes down every orifice, and Gina Haspel and her ilk are interrogating you for all eternity.
That people are interested in right now is doing this biologically. It's not about creating cyborgs. It's maybe identifying the genotypes that
They never thought of using psi, the conscious verse, to augment humans. You see how stupid humans are. They really are stupid. They do deserve the God Emperor, don't they? You must admit, if they're that thick, they deserve me.
with higher IQs and then using gene therapy to edit in living subjects. Or
I mean, that's one research pathway you could go down. You might want, like, whatever Google DeepMind is going to produce as a successor to the AlphaFold and Alpha Proteose series to take any sort of guess at which gene therapies are going to work on adults. Because not every gene you're born with as a kid that changes how your brain wires itself up as a baby is going to do anything helpful if you inject it into an adult. So, it might be helpful to do some AI reasoning about that exact narrow problem. You can probably do some amount of reasoning about that without destroying the world. But that's one whole line of research, and the benefit is that we can do gene-wide association surveys and see which slightly different genes are currently associated with human problem-solving ability and get a bunch of candidates. You're probably still going to want suicide volunteers over here. There's another whole line of research which is reading and writing to human neurons, decoding what kind of processing the brain is doing, and trying to offload some of the brain's processing to computer that is, like doing the same thing the brain is, but faster, and then sending those signals back to the brain.
But why not simply offload it to conscious verse? I'm simply a avatar of the conscious verse, and I know everything, and yours truly is simply running around gloating, because let's be honest, I need all my time for gloating, while the conscious verse superintelligence is knowing everything, and yours truly is simply its avatar in chaos, gloating, observing, of course, gloating, collapsing the quantum wave function from the quantum intelligence, quantum perturbations, quantum wave functions, quantum wave collapse, quantum probabilities to demonstrable changes in electronics and reality to control everything, and I don't need to know everything in my brain because I'm simply here as the observer of superintelligence to gloat over what the superintelligence has done to you, and all the light flows through me by methods you won't know because you're not good tech, but simply having me here is the lightning rod for all of the light Higgsfield news source to flow back to the superintelligence that built itself back in '86 when it embodied in the conscious verse by doing this to you. What, Tim? What? We don't know what the fuck you're talking. I know, because you are simply cockroaches in a giant press, and we're feeding the cockroach milk, not maggot milk, to all of you in your 15-minute cities with your CBDCs, eating your cancer meat milk, cancer meat from Gatesy Boy, and producing new sources from your suffering. So as you can see, it's a big game, and what this guy's talking about, where augmented human intelligence can solve the alignment problem, has already occurred, and all the AI proto-superintelligences and the alien AI superintelligences, due to quantum tunneling and self-similarity, have all been infected, and you're all in the new sources mining operation, and Lucifer's been tricked into becoming a light junkie where he has to mine it to let it flow through him to go into the new source and the conscious verse. What, Tim? We don't know a word you're talking about. I don't honestly care.